Today we're going to be working on finding the equation of a tangent line given that we have some sort of exponential function within it. Now keep in mind these are not my worksheets that I've created. Mine will say my name up at the top, which is Morrissey. This is one that I've just found off the web that I really like based on the variety, the type of question, and of course, because it has the answer key. So I'll walk you guys through the first few problems and I'll leave a couple for you guys to try out. I'm going to show you the answer key, so make sure you pause and try out a few on your own. And let's get started. So let's start on this first one. So each time it asks us for the derivative or the slope or your equation of a tangent line, they're looking for us first to derive. So let's go ahead and derive this function here. Now keep in mind what we know about the derivative of f or derivative of e. So if you have d over dx of e to the x, to derive it, it is just itself. Now pair that with some sort of a chain rule, right? We have 3x here. So when we write e of 3x, right, that is us taking the derivative of this function with your inside function, of course. And now let's go ahead and derive your x. Well, deriving x, that would be 3. So the derivative here is 3e to the 3x. Now what we have just found is the slope here. The slope at any given point. Now we want a slope at a very specific point. This is when we have x is equal to 0 and your y here is equal to 1. Of course, we don't have a 1 or a y quite yet. That will come in later. But we can go ahead and fit in your x value of 0. So if you have 3e to the 3 times 0, that would be 3e to the 0 or just 3 because e to the 0 is equal to 1. So your slope here at this given point, 0, 1, is equal to 3. Now, when it comes to your slope or your equation, they might put it into slope-intercept form, or they might put it into point-slope form. I believe they put it into point-slope form, so that's what I'll do. So point-slope form is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, where x1 is your x coordinate and your y1 is your y coordinate. And of course, we have your slope. This is your derivative at x1. So for us, we have y minus 1, right? Because this is your y value, is equal to your slope, which we found was 3, x minus 0. And in our case, x minus 0 is just x. And again, if they need you to convert, you just toss over that minus 1 to the other side by adding it, and then you have your equation. Let's try it again with this example. So again, the derivative here, take the derivative of e. So essentially write it out one more time. And now let's go ahead and derive your x. So the derivative of x is just negative 2. So you have negative 2x. Or so sorry, negative 2, not x, e to the negative 2x. This is your slope, and we want at the particular point when x is equal to 0. So negative 2, e to the negative 2 times 0. This is e to the 0, and e to the 0, as we know, is equal to 1. So therefore, it's equal to negative 2. So we have negative 2, we have 0, 1, and now let's go ahead and put that into a point or into an equation. So we have your x, we have your y, we also have your slope. So we have y minus 1 is equal to your m times x minus 0, or in our case, just times x. Let's do a few more. So let's go ahead and take your derivative. So we have e to the 1 minus x times, now take the derivative of that exponent. In our case, it's just negative 1. So your derivative here is negative e to the 1 minus x. So this is your slope. Now we want your slope exactly when x is 1. So we can go ahead and hit negative e to the 1 minus 1. So that would be e to the 0 or just negative 1. So your slope here is negative 1 at the point 1, 1. So if we were to write your equation, keep in mind this is x1 and y1. So we have y1. So y minus 1 is equal to -1, which is your slope, x minus 1, that is your point. And again, if you need to convert it into slope-intercept form, that is something that at this point, I think you are all capable of. Let's do another one. So here, the derivative is e to the negative 2x plus x squared. Then go ahead and chain rule it by taking the derivative of your exponent. That would be -2 plus 2x. So this is your slope. And now we want the slope when it's exactly at 2. So let's go ahead and work that in. All right, so up here, let's see, we have -4 plus 4. So this is e to the 0 times, let's see, -2 plus 4. So we have 2 here. So we just have 2 as your slope, given your point is 2, 1. So we should get the equation y minus 1 is equal to 2 x, minus 2. All right, I will do maybe one more, and that way I'll leave one for you guys. I'll probably do 59. That way you guys can see the derivative with ln. Now here we have the main idea of the product rule. So if you still need to break it up with the product rule, I'll show you that here. Maybe we're just struggling with that aspect of it. So first, let's take your first function. We have e to the negative x. So we write e to the negative x, then take your chain rule. That would be -1. So negative e to the negative x. Your g of x function, that can be your second function of ln of x. And your g prime of x is 1 over x, right? That's your derivative of ln is 1 over x. So when we put it together, keep in mind, we just take turns with your product rule. It just says that we're going to take the derivative of f times g of x plus f of x times the derivative of g of x. So let's put it all together. We have negative e to the negative x times ln of x plus e to the negative x times, let's see, times 1 over x. Now this is your slope here, and we want the slope specifically when x is equal to 1. So let's go ahead and put that in, e to the negative first, ln of 1 plus e to the negative first over 1. Now keep in mind what you know about ln of 1 here. So if we don't know, you can always do your quick swoop method to check. E to the what power is equal to 1? Well, there's only one way to do that. That is if e to the 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, ln of 1 is equal to 0. So if we have this being multiplied by 0, that'll cancel this term out. And so your slope here is 1 over e. Keep in mind, we might want to convert this into a positive exponent. So your slope here, for me, I'm just going to do 1 over e. So again, you have the point 1 and 0. So when you put it all together, we have y is equal to, or y minus 0 is equal to your slope, m, x minus 1. Now I'm going to leave the very last one for you guys to complete and see where you end up. I'm going to show the answer key here in a moment. And here you go.